Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to your twin flame energy check-in. I hope you guys are all doing great. I'm gonna jump straight into the reading. I haven't been here for a while, so first of all, I'm back. Last week was a little bit crazy, but also important for me in real life world. So I'm back and I have a lot more readings for you in stock for the upcoming week. We have Thanksgiving in stays, so I'll be doing something for that. I love this holiday, absolutely. Then of course we have the next full moon coming up pretty soon, so we'll talk about that. We have Mercury and Saturn turn direct pretty much at the same time. There is a lot going on. And I mean, I can't believe November has passed by so quickly already, but we are where we are. And of course, before you know it, I'm gonna start uploading your December horoscopes. So with all that said, let's get started. It's gonna be a classic read. So we'll look at divine feminine, divine masculine energy. And as always, I'm starting with an oracle message. For those of you who are new, check out the description box for my services, my content. You can absolutely order a personal reading, and I do coaching as well. So either of those things. And if you have any other questions or suggestions, then of course you can email me, you can add a comment. And for all of you, I appreciate your likes. All right, so for the feminines, the coming apart energy is here. I think we've seen it recently. I don't remember whether it was a daily card or it was actually something in the reading, but I actually saw it today, a little bit earlier. And you saw me shuffle even right now, but it still didn't didn't escape us the coming apart card. The coming apart is a little bit like a death card, the equivalent of it in this deck, because it does talk about literally that something has to end and you're supposed to walk away, break it off. You know, it can be more literal, kind of like coming apart from a person, or it can be more figurative, like quitting a certain habit or needing to relocate or needing to change something in your lifestyle or even in belief system, you know, like I'm gonna stop giving my time to people who don't appreciate me, something along those lines. Like that could be also coming apart, not with one specific person, but with that belief and with that maybe even somewhat subconscious habit that you had. So something like that is happening. And if anything, the question I would be asking is like, what can I release at this time? What is this time for, right? Because there may be some things that you know of, but you are not quite ready to walk away. This is more of like, this has been coming long time, and now it's almost like I don't even have that connection anymore if it was a person, for instance, right? It's more of a habit for us to, I don't know, call each other once in a while and meet for coffee once a month or something, but it just doesn't even give me any kind of fun or joy, right? It's that autopilot habit, right? So coming apart in this case is not going to be that hard. That's what I'm hearing for you. That was number 46, by the way, and for masculines we have number 47, just FYI. And they've got the sacred pool. So masculines, this is questioning your connection with your higher power, with who you believe that to be, and how do you communicate with that higher power of yours. Do you have like a habitual ritual that you use once in a while? Do you go to a temple, to a church to do your praying or to do your part of, you know, the service, the worship, whatever it is, acknowledgement at least, right, of the relationship, your reverence to it? What is it? How do you practice it, right? Because it does include like this connection, and the support that we get from our higher power gives us that sacred pool of potential, of knowledge, of talent, of enthusiasm, you name it, right? But it's like, it still has that, like in any relationship, there is a give and take. There is certain ebb and flow to it, of the energy exchange. And even though this seems like, you know, just like endless amount of energy and of everything in there in the sacred pool, there's still some kind of exchange that's supposed to happen. You can't just be taken, because even in your own field it will create a big disbalance. And you know, we can call it the law of karma, the law of reciprocity, but you know, balance will be reset one way or another, right? So of course it's always better to do it more consciously and to understand that, you know, whatever you're asking help with, from your side, most of the traditions, most of the schools of thoughts and religions, they ask you for certain commitment, right? For not necessarily preaching, but at least living your life according to those standards that, you know, you have agreement with your higher power. So this time, masculines question, you know, whether that's the case. How much of that integrity do you have within your day-to-day life? And what is it that you want to change to improve this relationship? Now I'll do my regular spread. I do the Light Seer Tarot, as you know, right now. I'll try to find some other deck. Well, actually not try, I know where they are. Some of them at least. I'll bring some other deck for the upcoming couple of weeks because I am gonna be home very briefly, and then I'm going for another journey for a couple of weeks, but I should have a chance to bring more different decks, let's put it that way. So we have a little bit of variety. With all that said, we have Knight of Pentacles as the bottom of the deck. So it's really not about quantity, it's about quality right now. It's like, how do we want to measure our success? So we're not just like accomplishing certain quests or certain activities and we can tap ourselves on the back afterwards. So like, oh, I've been there, I've done that, right? But it's like, does it make a difference in my life long term? What will? How do I know? And I don't mean this as a trick question. I mean this as an actual question for yourself. Otherwise, you know how they say, like, you wouldn't know of a da-da-da-da-da, fill in the blanks, even if it hit you in the head. Like, it's that kind of a deal. Like, you wouldn't know the blessing or when you reach next level if you don't really make those conscious goals for yourself. You don't have that vision for yourself. How would you know? And I'm not saying it's never going to happen then, but it will take you a lot longer to get to that point. And I'm speaking from experience, 100%. Five of Cups. Yeah, you see, like there's, in a lot of us, there is this idea of, well, there's a lot of self-judgment, right? Self-criticism, perfectionism. We do expect a lot from ourselves. And because, especially in the spiritual realm, a lot of the challenges and adventures that we're going through are kind of off the beaten track. It's not always, and the same goes with blessings and achievements. It's not always easy to kind of put a finger on like, yes, this is a big achievement, right? Because it's not something you can easily compare across. It's not done that much, so people don't really speak about it, right? And not to mention that it's very personal. So what seems like something mundane for one person would be something extraordinary for another one. But it's very important not to get stuck in that loop where it's like, okay, but where, you know, you even when you accomplish something and deep down you know that it's a big deal, you kind of like say, okay, this is fine. Now I have the next thing. Now I have the next thing, the next thing. And don't get yourself into that loop where you're always chasing the next thing and you don't give yourself a moment to appreciate and to acknowledge what you've been through in this last leg of the journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right? But with that sense of closing the cycle and saying, wow, this was very important for my journey because da-da-da-da-da. And I did something that, you know, many people don't accomplish or achieve. And it's a moment to be proud of myself. Okay. So for the feminines, your energy right now is Ace of Cups, clarified by Seven of Wands. Very interesting. So there is a desire to establish who you are, your identity, and make it known to others. The question is, how do you present it? And you don't want to appear hostile to anyone, or maybe, you know, in an argumentative way where people will feel like they've been mistaken about you or that you've let them down somehow. But the truth is that as long as you keep your heart open, even as we're still in the Mercury retrograde and you're presenting yourself at this time, something is happening, right? It's all about how you do it. I had a huge day this week with, you know, possibly it's something that will define the next chapter of what I'm doing. And I was meeting all these important people. I actually did physical travel, which is, yeah, usually it's like a no during this time, right? It wasn't the easiest, I would say, for different reasons, not related to Mercury retrograde objectively, but I did it. And never in the day I was thinking, oh my God, it's Mercury retrograde, right? But I did, and this is like part of the habit that I have now, to approach these different situations, moments, experiences with an open heart as much as possible. Give it your all, not of like, yes, I'm gonna put myself, like, that's 7 of Wands, by the way. I'm gonna put myself out there and be vulnerable to everyone where you feel fragile, right? And it is like that you need to be careful about it, because a lot of people will take advantage of that. No, I mean, in expressing yourself, this is who I am, this is what's important to me. Giving it a little bit of that conscious check, right? Of like, how is this relevant to where I am right now? But not holding back if it's something that your heart speaks to. Whether it's seemingly negative or positive, by the way. And I had, with my story that I was just telling, same thing. I gave some of the feedback, negative feedback that I had for some of our previous experience. And also at some point I was asked about a certain experience, and I did give an honest feedback, like, this was great, but that's where I felt like it could have been better. That's where I felt like we could have used each other's time better, right? Like, this could have been more, this could have created a better impression, or whatever it was, right? But again, I was saying it not from a place of hurt and, you know, like feeling like I was a victim or, you know, you wasted my time kind of stuff. No, I was coming from a place of like, you can do this so much better. You know, the next time you're talking to someone like me, you invite in someone new in your space, this could be easily better. Okay, so for the masculine, 6 of Swords, 6 of Cups, the 6s, I actually love it. 6 is, in the minor arcana, this is like one of my favorites, at least. One of top 3 out of 10. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I love 6s, seriously, all of them. 6 of Swords, 6 of Cups, a very interesting combination, because we're seeing that outwardly the masculines are trying to like establish this space of calm and grounded energy, which is beautiful, which is literally like their day-to-day activity, existence, what they're up to. They're trying to get it grounded to a place where they don't need to feel like they're putting out fires every day. On the back of it, there's an inner child speaking that, you know, I don't want chaos to be my baseline anymore. Maybe that's something that I used to have and I was used to, but not anymore. I'm in a different place. I'm living a different life. So I'm sorry, but that's just not gonna go well anymore. It needs to be different. Additional question for today, Ace of Wands and Queen of Pentacles. So what can we improve in our life in terms of our abundance, our lifestyle, that would speak and be in alignment with our light worker journey and with who we really are? So it doesn't feel artificial, it doesn't feel like doesn't feel like a hard bargain that we're giving something up. For the feminines, we have 3 of Cups clarified by Death. Another transformation card, right? We just talked about coming apart and now it's death. Yeah, so what is your inner circle like? Who are you surrounded with? Are those people who are happy for you and can cheer you on and you do the same for them? Does it happen easily, or it's always some kind of a struggle back and forth before you actually get to, hey, I'm doing what I love, and live it to that? Yeah, and maybe it's time to change something quite dramatically with that. Again, walking from someone away, coming apart, we already talked about it, right? Could actually open doors for people who would really get it, who would be on your side, who would want to participate in the adventures that you are having, and that will be fun for them, and they will be grateful for that experience. And you can do the same for them and show up honestly, not thinking like, oh my God, I really don't care about this at all. For masculines, Queen of Pentacles and Knight of Pentacles. So we actually have double synchronicity here, because Queen of Pentacles was in the question and Knight of Pentacles was in the underlying energy over here. So what I would say here, obviously because it's the masculine and the feminine, and we actually see the masculine, the Knight of Pentacles is looking towards the feminine. The feminine actually has her eyes closed, if you can see. So she's doing great. And the masculines are like, well, there is a feeling that feminines have it easier in their life of how they create abundance or how they're taken care of by, you know, I'm just going to use genders to make it an easier example. You know, like a lot of times we still have this prejudice in the society that, you know, women are taken care of by men. And men have a little bit of that grudge. And I've heard it myself so many times that, you know, like women have each other's support, or they always have a man to rely on, even if it's a friend, a father, a brother, somebody. It's like accepted that, you know, men are supposed to support women, especially if the circumstances go that way. But men don't have that luxury. Men have to look out for themselves and usually for women in their life too, right? And it feels unfair. And there is this inequality in the energy, you know, the Knight of Pentacles versus the Queen of Pentacles. So masculines are a little grumpy that way, but they're also trying to understand, how do I not fall victim to this limitation myself? Like there has to be a better way, right? And it doesn't always happen that, like, at least, you know, if my feminine is has leveled up and they're doing great, that means that I can feel grumpy or even jealous of that success. Or it can be an encouragement that we can actually do so much more together in our union, in our tandem, in our relationship, you know, when we're together, because we both will have our abundance, we'll have our finances that we can combine, and we can do something wonderful with them. So it's not to feel inferior of like, oh, well, you know, what can I add to this situation that will be useful? And by the way, that's another side of it, that masculines feeling like this is what they bring to the picture. Like that's the important part. If they can't provide for the family, they feel like something happens to their manhood, basically. That they're not a worthy partner, right? So there is that battle that kind of goes on with the masculine. It's a little bit of like comparison here and there of like, how do I do better than that? Some of them I'm hearing, I'm thinking, how do I do better than my feminine financially? Which is, by the way, not really the way to go about it. Even if you know exactly how much they're making, you have specific numbers, you know, specific things, that's not going to be connected with that passion and what you're good at, right? That's the tricky part of this world, where we are on the one hand supposed to follow the rules of the game and play accordingly and think about money, finances, compensation. But on the other hand, especially as light workers, so let's just say spiritual people, we can't sort of sell our soul for it, you know? We still have to prioritize what speaks to us on a soul level. And money may not come on day one, but it will come eventually. One thing will lead to another. As long as you keep experimenting, you keep the door open, you say yes to certain things that maybe you question whether, you know, this is a good choice or not, or I'm not so comfortable, right? But if it just feels right in the moment, just go with it, right? And you'll start seeing more and more opportunities with time. How do feminine see in the connection at this time? 9 of Swords, 2 of Swords, a lot of confusion and lack of clarity of what this will look like in the next months, year, 10 years. So right now, feminines prefer not to make any moves. There is a lot of inner struggle. I'm going to sum it up that way of like, I'm not sure about this. For some feminines, they are seriously considering, and that's part of the 2 of Swords, seriously considering looking at other options in their life. Because they've been so locked in onto this union and specific masculine that, you know, it feels like they've put all their eggs in one basket. And now so much time has passed, or their situation has evolved, They're thinking, well, I'm not sure how long can I wait, right? Should I even wait? Which, by the way, waiting energy is not going to bring you closer to union. So good for you for, considering something else. Even if it's not like this is a different person long term, right? But at least refocusing, right? At least looking at your life differently. It all helps when you're not fixated on a union with a specific person. Masculines, how they see in the connection. We have Four of Swords clarified by the World. Wow. Well, Four of Swords have already spoken to a little bit that masculines prioritize their peace, and intuitively they're guided towards healing their heart, towards getting over the past pain, hurt, jealousy, power struggle, whatever was happening, especially between the masculine and the feminine. And for those who are watching and thinking, well, we never had anything like that, it didn't have to be outwardly spoken. It doesn't mean it didn't happen, right? And for some masculines, it's only now that they're acknowledging it, that was bothering them, that this is something that's making them angry or jealous or whatever, impatient, right? So they're one way or another addressing it, going within, taking care of themselves, doing some healing. And it's very important for them to be able to embark on a new journey, that world quest, right? Which twin flame connection is a reflection of that on a certain scale, to a certain degree, right? They're preparing for next phase, but they need to take care of themselves at this time. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. It was a little long, but you haven't seen me for like a week, so I took my time, took my chance. It was really nice doing this for you guys. I missed you all. If you like the video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, bye.